Oral Communication Project for Lesson 17, Attitudes, Assumptions, and Boundaries in Case Management. MHT 220 OLA Tara Lovely, project done by Bridget Wadley on 11/18/17. The purpose of this article is to inform readers on the boundaries between someone of higher power and someone that is looking for help or reference, to the fine lines where it is hard to tell if a boundary is broken. It talks about how individuals could be wanting to gain from the relationship between a counselor and the client, either sexually, for personal gain, to get special treatment, or get somewhere from the sessions, or a special kind of relationship from it. Throughout the years, researchers have tried to gather what is ethical and appropriate between boundaries and the effects of engaging in dual relationships with a worker and the client. Sadly, though, there is a lack of information in the counseling, psychology, and social work fields regarding ethical dilemmas which happen in the roles between supervisors and the ones being supervised. Sexual relationships, by far, are a violation in the codes of ethics in social work, counseling, and psychology. Sexual relationships are also against the code of ethics between universities, agencies, and between supervisors and supervisees. This is because one is supervising the other, and they have more power than the other one, so this could be held over someone in exchange for sexual conduct. When it comes to social relationships leading into sexual relationships are not quite clear in the three fields. If two consenting adults get into a relationship together and it's for the wrong reasons, like someone being promoted or favored by the superior person, that's not okay. If two consenting adults develop a social bond and friendship that leads to sexual advances, and then in the end it's used against one or the other, it isn't simply wrong. If roles aren't explained between two friends, there could be consequences in the end because one or the other could say, "I thought we had something good going," or blackmail them in some way. There is also transference, countertransference, sexualized interactions, distorted feedback, and a distorted sense of intimacy between a supervisor and supervisee. Sometimes in these fields, a hug is given to one who may seem to need it, but it could also give a person a signal or a message that isn't there for the individual giving the hug, but the one receiving it, or vice versa. Transference is when one individual receives emotions and feelings for the counselor that stems from past feelings in a counseling relationship. Countertransference is when the therapist or person that is seen to have higher power in a client-based relationship gets or transfers emotions to a person in therapy, which is common when the client directs transference toward them to start with. Countertransference is essentially the therapist having feelings for the client. Sexualized interactions. There is verbiage by either party that is flirtatious or sexualized, in which there are hints toward wanting sexual favors. Distorted feedback is feedback in which one party takes it the wrong way, which it is meant to have a completely different effect but is seen to be romantic or sexual in this context. Distorted sense of intimacy is when one party is being nice to the other or friendly, and then it's taken to be more intimate than it's truly intended. I feel that the lesson this article most refers to is Lesson 17, which is Attitudes, Assumptions, and Boundaries in Case Management, because it talks about all of this from the attitudes of individuals in the field and in a counseling relationship, to assuming that someone is flirting with you when they aren't, to violating boundaries and ethics when sexual favors are performed, either out of lust or personal gain. All of this information was found through research, whether it was through surveys or knowledge already in the field, like examples prior to the study. A study was done to find out the beliefs of licensed workers in the three fields regarding intimate behaviors during clinical supervision, whether that was intimacy given off from the client, the therapist, or position of higher up, or both. The results were that 3 out of the 238 responses of the clients felt comfortable being asked out on a date, and that 9 out of the 238 responses of the supervisor role felt comfortable being asked out on a date by a client. This research shows that there are some people with superior roles and some clients in the world that would feel comfortable engaging in that sort of relationship. However, I personally feel that there are way more out there that wouldn't admit to it, which is why the results are so low, and more noticed or more unnoticed cases in the world in which these very things happen. The authors started out in this article talking about a summary of things that can happen in a client-superior relationship, and then went into the study that they conducted and got the results from it. This relates to case management because we can find ourselves in the very same position with a client, and we have to know how to appropriately decline any invitation for a date or any other type of unethical advance. We need to know the proper procedures of our company and who to report to first. We also need to keep in mind our own biases or thoughts on the subject so that we could best channel how we feel in an appropriate manner had something like this happen. It's important to best know our clients and the cues if they are being flirtatious or if something innocent we are saying is provoking them to act in a certain way. Thank you.